Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this bearing here because we're getting ready to, over in the lathe, we've got a billet we're getting ready to set up, and we want to get an OD and an ID and a link roughed out. So I'm going to press this bearing out of here, and we have various sleeves and stack ups here to do different presses on bearings and cutlasses just like this. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to hold this up. It fits right in there, and it's going to let us press the bearing right out through the center of the hole here. All right, and we have pushers that we make up for different size bearings, and there's some of the bearings that actually have different IDs and the same OD, so we incorporate one or two pushers in a single piece of stock here. There we go. And here's the bearing here. Now this bearing here should have been changed years ago. There's cracks and all kinds of, this is super hard and cracks. This is a phenolic bearing, and we're going to be putting in a couple bronze shells. That's popular in our area here, and we'll be coating it up with some Tef gel, which is a assembly lubricant for putting dissimilar metals together. Of course, this is in fresh water, and it's not going to be acting the same as salt water. Alright, we just took a few photos on the inside of this bore here. Now that pressed out pretty stout, at least it sounded pretty stout, and you can see the pictures on the inside bore. Looks a little rough. I hope I can give the customer a better finish on the material than what I see in there. And we're measuring over about 4, and I'm getting a little discrepancy from side to side and up and down around that welded area there. I got like 8 there. Five there. These are over the nominal. That's 2 over. There's like 7 or 8 over. But the thing actually came out of there pretty hard. Let's see what this mic's out to be. And it is over that much also. I thought these came out a little closer than they did. Alright, anyway, 2 inches the nominal for the inside dimension, 2 inches the size of the bearing that we're going to be putting in there, and we're going to be shooting for 1,000ths interference to right on the money, because you can hold these in with set screws as well. Preferably a 0.5 to 1.5 thousandths press fit would be ideal, and but we got an ID here. And we know the OD is 2.5, and we've got a piece of material over there that we're plus on the ID and OD. So we're going to stick it in the lathe, and we're going to rough it down, and we're working with 5.5 inches on the overall length. We have enough to get 2 6-inch pieces out of there. There is pros and cons on giving a little bit of a leading edge and letting the bearing be flush with the stern part of the support, and letting the front have a little bit of a funnel in or suction for the water. Sometimes and people really prefer that in their thinking of getting more water through that bearing. Regardless, we're going to go ahead and duplicate exactly what we have here. Alright, so let's go on over to the lathe there. Alright, we got we got our billet here just slightly shy of 12 inches there. We're 2 3/4 on the OD, and we have like 1 1/4 on the ID. So we got a center line here just kind of marked out. And we're going to work half of this, turn it and bore it, turn it and bore it, and then we'll cut it in half, and then we'll have the slug ready to go in, and we'll start setting up our jig. All right. Okay, I just changed out this tool bit, and for some reason it looks a little high. So let's just bring it around, and I gotta grab my hard scale here. All right, we take the hard scale and we put it in between our tool bit here and the part, and we see that we're leaning way forward there. So we go ahead and we lower our post down. That's pretty level, and I just want to see just ever so slightly leaning out. All right, that should do us. We're just giving it some face here, clean face. All right, go ahead and set it up, and we'll take a couple passes down the OD here. All right, we're set up here. We're going to touch off. Set 0. The diameter of this is 2 3/4. We need 2 1/2. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to take 100,000ths off a side. Just taking a look at it here, I just want to confirm. Okay, that'll put us about 2 9/16 right now. Okay, a little Aluma-tap here. Here we go. All right. It's not the most enjoyable chips to actually get. Let me grab a pair of pliers here. Sometimes these are the ones that back up and wrap around your chuck. And actually, I thought maybe we might get a scene of that happening, but it didn't. And I actually have a pretty good finish here. And we are 6 inches, which is half. And I think we just did this all in one cut. All right, let's set up, and we're gonna go ahead and give it a bore slightly under the finished bore, because when we do the welding on the outside here, we're going to be distorting the bore, and we want that finished bore to be done after all of the welding. Okay, I need this is only, my boring bar is only sticking out 4 1/2 inches here, and we want a good 6 inches plus a little bit there. So we're going to loosen this up, and we're going to stick it out here. We know we're sticking out about 6 1/2 now. All right, 6 1/2. We need to put our bar back square. So we just take our square and put it against one of the flats, square it off of our carriage there, and set. We're ready to go. All right, now I'm not gonna try to get the bore all in one cut like the outside ended up being. I'm actually gonna. Yeah, it looks pretty square to me. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna set. We're just touching the end here. All right, feeding in. We're gonna set 0 there, just so we have a ballpark figure of when we get in there around 6 inches long. 6 inches in a 100 or so. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave it the same coarseness of the feed, but I'm only going to give it about 25 per pass, and we're gonna open this up to where it's about 50 thousandths under the finish size. All right, we bring it in, touch the side, set 0 here. Okay, we're taking 25 per side. We're just hoping that this breaks a chip a little. We want it to break a chip and roll inside or come outside. There we go. We don't really want stringy chips here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to bore this out. When we get close to the side there, I'll bring you back in. We got it out here to 1 inch 9/45 or so. We're going to leave it right there, and we're going to go ahead and turn our part around, and we're going to bring the other side down to match this or as close as possible, because we're going to be setting up a jig to hold this in place, and we want both parts, the part that's we're holding on to now and the part we're going to create after we cut them, to be real close so that they fit the jig exactly the same way. Now this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the boring bar to face the outside, do the bore, then come to the outside. I'm facing off about 20 thousandths here. Okay, let me adjust you in a little bit better than that for another skim cut. Okay, we got to reverse our feed direction. Okay, we're giving it another 5 or 6. Here we go. Okay, now we'll switch our feed back around the other way, and the same thing as before. We're setting 0 here so we know how far we're going to go in. Touch the side. Here we go. Okay, here's my last pass. This should set it at the same diameter as the other bore. There we go. It's 25 thousandths per side. Okay, we've got our high-speed steel bit out here, and we're going to be touching off here. Now we're not going to try to take the whole 100 thousandths like we did before. We're going to see if the chip can break a little bit on it. We'll see if we can do that. This is 50,000s here. Now it's still going to pull a stringy chip. All right, we're going to whittle this down to size here, and we'll bring you in when we're ready to part it off into 2 pieces. Okay, we got our parting tool in here, and we're just starting to pierce the outside. It's about a 1/16 of an inch longer than we're going to cut it. There we go. There we go. All right, we're just going to pop this out. We'll put in another bit, and we're just going to kiss it on the 2 corners there, like chamfer it. While we're gathering up all of our parts here, we've got the preliminary machining done on these tubes, the finished machining done on the pads, and these will be cut to suit the jig that we're going to put together. So I'm going to carry these into the other room. We're going to grab the 2 old struts, Exhibit A and Exhibit B, and we're going to go put together some new struts. All right, we cleared out these holes so that we could use these toe clamps to hold down. I got some 3" by 1" angle, 3 inches long. I got 4 pieces here, and we're going to be tacking those right down to the table. That's what this table's all about: holding, jigging, things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and tack these down, and then we're going to pull this off, because this is my guide, or my piece that I'm going to put in here that's going to support our center pieces. And there's a weld inside here that's interfering 100% contact on this side over here. So I want to locate this while I have it clamped down, loosen this up, take this, I'll sand that piece, and we'll put this, clamp this back down into our jig location here, and then we're going to set this up, and then I have uprights that's going to come up off the table to hold this, and then we're going to grab another angle, and then we're going to, just like this, but we're going to put it up on this side here so that everything can go out that way from the jig. And then we'll jig up one, and then put the other one in here and jig that one up the same way. Get my gloves on here. Okay, and we're going to purge the gas. Doesn't take much. A couple inches of wire to purge the gas. All right. Okay, now we should be able to unclamp this. We'll clean up that weld and try to make this short as possible here. And we went ahead and sanded the underside of this, and here's a picture of that. I just took a flapper wheel and was able to go ahead and blend in the weld on there on the one side, and this really fits in here nice. It locates and it's solid, and to the diameter front and back. Okay, let's take this, set it up here, because I want to clamp it, but it's easier to clamp things if it has a flat side on the clamp. So pretty flat. A little bit on this side. All right. Now that we have a flat, we can reach in here and the clamp won't tend to rock off. All right, a little bit off each end. That's good. We're staring down here, tight, 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 and tight. All right. Now we need to join this to the table, and I had already pre-cut a couple of these. We're going to put two box tubes up here, and we're going to put two back here, probably right there, and we'll put them back here. Actually, let's go ahead and I'm going to loosen this up. We can change our mind. All right, there we go. There and there. All right, I got these because we're probably going to put a bridge across front and back, which will keep it stable. And then there's going to be a stop. It's going to go right behind the bearing there. That'll be the last thing I do because I want everything to go ahead and take its set. Okay, we are just going to go ahead and start on this one. Okay, now the very last thing is going to be the stop for the bearing, and that's what will locate it. Okay, this should be 100%. I do want to get a picture of it. Well, I gotta wait. It's called batteries. Okay. Now this was B strut, and we'll do that one first. Let me get the rest of the components here. Okay. B2 will go on this side. B1 will go on this side. The arrows point towards the bow. you know, you want to make your rigs strong enough. All right, so that's going to clamp down there, and then we're going to go ahead and cut and shape our 2 struts into place like that. Of course, they'll be setting in the center like these are here, and they'll be at the right angle and all of that. Okay, so that's how our jig is going to work, and I've got some prepping to do here, and it looks like tomorrow we will be welding these up and boring them up.